All right, welcome back to the stock market recap for Wednesday, July 16th. In this video, like all daily recaps, we'll take a look at the indexes, the liquid leaders, industry ETFs, then end the video with some long and short setups going into next week. But before we get started, the platform that I'm using on this video, Deepvue, is running a promotion where you can try it out for 1 month completely risk-free. You don't even have to put your credit card information in. So if you like what you see during the video and then want to use the platform exactly how I do, I've linked all of my screens, my watch lists, column sets, and data panel. So you could use the platform exactly how I do, completely risk-free. All right, let's jump into it. Really strong day in the market out of most stocks. NASDAQ, QQQ only up 0.1% after a big shakeout. There was some rumor that Trump was going to fire Powell. He can't. So stakeout, then rallied back up through the 10 and the 5-day moving average, closed above the support gap. Overall, exactly the type of action that you want to see out of the market, just a nice shakeout, then recovery. S&P 500, SPY, a little bit stronger, up 0.3%. Did have a clean undercut of the 10-day of that support gap, then rallied back up, closed over the 5-day moving average. Overall, slightly weaker than the NASDAQ, just because we do have this resistance gap overhead. Obviously, we would want to fill that as quickly as possible, but we have not done so on a closing basis, maybe tomorrow. But that is one little warning sign in the market. Lots of positives in the market, still a couple small warning signs. Next, we have the growth stocks of the Russell 2000. That's the ticker IWO. Great action today. We undercut the 20-day moving average. We tested the support gap, bounced right at that zone, and then recaptured the 5 and the 10-day moving average. Exactly what you want to see out of a shakeout. Now, ideally, we can close this resistance gap up top sooner rather than later. But basically, after the reversal yesterday and the morning weakness, morning sell-off, it looked like we were actually going to kind of revert to a downtrend here. And after that reversal, it now looks like we're ready to go higher. Next, we have ARKK. Awesome action today. Gap up, open on the low, close near the high, and continues to make new 52-week highs. Zooming out, it looks like we're really getting back close to the previous consolidation there. Absolutely monster move off the low. A lot of the stocks in this fund are acting well, so something to look at. And then BTC for Bitcoin, just consolidating with a 5-day moving average, not doing anything wrong after its big breakout. Exactly the type of action you would want to see after the reversal and then sell off yesterday is that nice bounce today, and that's what we got. Next, we'll take a look at the liquid leaders. I did have to take Uber off the list. Uber closed below the 20-day moving average and the support gap. So we could see we could close that out. So with that, I took it off the list. I still don't think it's like a horrible stock or anything, but I added RKLB, which is already extended. This list is not like the stocks that I own or anything, just a way to kind of do an overview of the market and what institutions are trying to pile into. RKLB has been a monster stock, was a monster stock last year, rallying from $5 up to 25. Went through this about, what is this, 6-month consolidation, and then picked up again off the 20-day EMA and basically has doubled since that point. So definitely getting a little extended here, but great action overall. Volume profile is exactly what you want to see. Accumulation days versus distribution. This was, I think, not sure what happened here. A little bit more volume than usual. All right. Next, we have Coinbase. Higher highs, higher lows. Good closing price after yesterday's shakeout of the 5 and the 10-day EMAs. Had that shakeout on some crypto bill not passing, then it passed. All right. We're back above all the key moving averages. Crypto's a leading theme. uh, Chances are that Coinbase is going to continue higher. GEV continues to just power up that 5-day EMA. A break and close under that would be a warning sign for the market. But until we do that, full steam ahead. Robinhood, great action. Another gap up and close at new all-time highs. Just all-time highs? Yes, all-time highs. Just a monster stock. And to me, it's the liquid leader of this bull market right now, going from $30 up to $100 off the lows. Monster move. This is another stock that Once we see a reversal and a loss of the 10-day moving average, that would be a warning sign in the market. But until then, things are stopping higher. Roblox, a little concerning action today, even though it's super solid price action of 5.95% on big volume. Is this a small gap? Let's see. Not quite. What we're starting to see here is acceleration after a 100% move. When you get that, it's great if you're already in the stock, but it is kind of a warning sign that one of the leaders of this market is starting to accelerate to the upside. Instead of just like trending higher, you're seeing the slope move even quicker. So a gap up, strong close, another gap up, that could be kind of an area of a reversal, and then just some longer term consolidation before a move higher. Again, it's awesome if you're in the name. It's doing everything right. You want to ride that acceleration higher and try to sell into that extension, but um, the accelerations don't usually happen like in the middle of the trend. It usually happens at the end of an intermediate trend. Royal Caribbean uppercut and failed the slight resistance gap, making new highs. Closed right at the 5-day moving average. Kind of looks like this needs to pull in. Maybe it comes back into the support gap under the 10-day there. Talks about RKLB, FUTU, another set of lower highs and lower lows, but still closed at the 5-day moving average. Really great breakout last week, so I want to give it plenty of room to kind of wiggle before I get concerned about the name. One of the leading stocks in China. Nvidia, great sideways action after yesterday's gap up, still aired to the 5-day exponential moving average and 10-day. Even a pullback into the 10-day at 164, that could be a buy spot, just a nice shakeout area versus the 20-day EMA. And last, we have SOFI, continues to just consolidate above the 5-day moving average. Exactly the type of action that you want to see out of a leader. And then through today's high is viable for more of like a swing trade, trying to get that acceleration that RBLX had after a little consolidation at the high. See if we have like a 1 to 3 day move on it. It is a little bit extended here, but this type of price action usually doesn't just resolve to the downside unless we get a gap down on news. So if we don't get any bad news and we open, take out today's high, that could be tradable for like a 1 to 3 day move. All right, next we'll jump to the industry ETFs. Just wanted to cover a couple here. BLOK, new highs, gap up, strong close, continue to be a leading group in the market, continues to trend higher. Robinhood, Coinbase, both in that ETF. NLR, the nuclear ETF, new all-time highs today. And if you take a look at some of the components, SMR up another 7.6%, closing at new highs, closing out this resistance gap. Just a monster move off the 20-day EMA shakeout and the shakeout of the support gap. That's why we draw the support gaps, because it's a secondary area after a key moving average gets taken out. That if you still find support at that area, you don't want to take the name off your watch list, because it could kind of be shaking out the weak hands and then reverse higher for a big move. It's exactly what happened here. Another name, whoops, in that group, OKLO. Great action today. Basically, a bullish engulfing candle up another 5.6%. CCJ, new highs up 0.5%. So that group is really starting to extend now. Biotechs, after an ugly close under the 5 and 10-day EMAs, we gapped up and then closed back over the 5-day on more volume than the previous day. That's usually a good sign of a shakeout and then kind of retest or reignite of the move higher. Taking out the 20-day, or sorry, 200-day EMA, 200-day simple moving average, excuse me, previous highs and resistance gap would be a great sign for that group. IGV, good kind of shake under the 20-day moving average and reclaimed all the key moving averages, the 5 and the 10. Great action there. What was the other two I wanted to cover? SMH, semiconductor ETF, did have an unfilled gap down, but outside of that, basically the action that you would want to see. Shook out the 10-day, shook out the support gap here, and then rallied back above to finish the day only down 0.5%. And then TAM, the solar ETF, a little bit of weakness today, but on very light volume, lighter volume than the previous day, into the 10-day moving average. Still not doing anything wrong here. A quick undercut of the 10-day or even a test of the 20-day EMA, given where we are in the overall structure, wouldn't be too bearish to me. All right, now we'll take a look at some long setups. We start with two quantum names. Before we get into those quantum names, let's cover RGTI, the main mover of the day, up 30%. This was on the watch list yesterday, so if you followed the videos, hopefully you caught this. It was an opening range break, moved right on the open, exactly what you want to see on news. Just a beautiful chart. Overall, IPO base, handle it at highs for 6 months after a monster move from 76 cents up to like $20. Now we're reigniting the move on monster volume on news. So I bought at the open. Hopefully this continues higher, but some secondary names in that group that are starting to shape up. QBTS. This also made a monster move from $1 up to 10, consolidated, rallied to new highs, and is flagged out. We're back above the HVC, the high volume close from May 20th. Couple different spots. If we see market weakness pulling into that 50-day moving average and $15 would be ideal. Or if we get like another tight day to set this pivot, um, those are two spots to watch. If RGTI has another strong day tomorrow, though, this probably just takes off through 17. That could be a buy point, and then just use the 20-day EMA as your stop. That would be pretty wide, actually, now that I'm looking at that. I'd probably use more of like an intraday stop, 5-day, or the HVC if I'm trying to buy on strength through 17, just to keep that risk tight and managed. QUBT, kind of a secondary name in the group, has made a really strong move from 5 up to 18. What I would like to see is an undercut of the support gap as an entry, since it is a secondary name, just kind of a quick shakeout and reclaim, then the stop would be the low of the day there. Couple crypto names, HUT. This one, good action after the close under the 5-day moving average yesterday with the gap up. This one, just looking for a shakeout of that gap zone of possibly the 10-day EMA and today's low as an entry. You could take it on strength through 22.72. I'm not going to. I'm going to be a little bit more patient with this, and then just watch that gap zone low. IREN, another crypto name, massive mover from 5 to 17. Just going sideways here. We do have volatility picking up, but price isn't breaking down. And when you have that, instead of buying on strength, I tend to buy on a shakeout because we have evidence that volatility is there and shakeouts are occurring. So why not buy on another shakeout of the 10-day EMA, support gap, and the pullback low right around 1630. Next, we have INOD. This is one of the more speculative names in the market that hasn't really been participating, but as we start to see more and more like risk on type names rally, like RGTI and the quantum names, I just want to stay focused on the stocks that are starting to set up again that can have some major moves like that. INOD is one of those, has rallied from $5 up to 70. Big consolidation here. And now what I really like about the chart is we pulled back, we lost the 5 and the 10-day, and then we shook out the 20-day and then put in a higher shakeout of that support gap under the 20-day and then closed well. This is one where if we get a gap up, an opening range break is buyable versus whatever the low of the day is or the 10-day moving average. SEDG thought this was going to be buyable through the pivot at like 27, what was it? 2760. Basically uppercut and failed right at that area, showing that this needs a little bit more time or more price of shakeout. And now watching the 20-day moving average and support gap, that would be a breakout retest as well. Overall, we're still in that kind of stage one base phase. So I would rather take these types of trades on weakness than strength. And the first test of the 20-day EMA after a new 52-week high is usually a good risk reward spot. So we'll keep 2360 in mind there. Next, we have DAVE. This has been one of the software leaders of the market the past couple of years, going from $5 up to $280. Since then, we've had a pretty sharp sell-off. Let's measure it out from the top here. We've already sold off 36% off the top. And we've closed under the 50-day moving average twice now. So you're probably saying, Nick, why would we focus on this name? And it's for a more of a swing trade or day trade. Now that we've had two closes underneath, there's some real panic coming in here. We see big volume coming in. on that sell-off. We had one pause day and then follow through to the downside, follow through to the downside. If we get another move to the downside, taking out today's low, chances are, I'm guessing, we're going to see some real panic in this name. And we have two gap zones, unfilled gap zones, one at 173, one at 168 to watch for areas of reversals. Once you get all the people that bought late shaken out, then you could see a nice, not a V recovery to highs, but a nice bounce back, snapback, whatever you want to call it, for a 1 day or a little bit longer of a trade. I did that with SEZL on the 20-day EMA here. That was just like a 1 day shakeout, though. A little bit different, little shallower move, and then you could have held that for a much longer time. But these shakeouts that just touch off key areas like gap zones, um, they do have some pretty nice alpha, some really nice risk reward spots to it. So that's one that I'll be focused on tomorrow. NXT, another solar stock, just watching for an undercut of the 20-day moving average to play versus the pullback low right there. And then finally, MP. This has been a monster stock, went from 18 to 60. After hours, they announced a offering, and it doesn't look like this is going to get to the gap zone. I just wanted to put it on your radar. If people like truly panic, we see a full shakeout of the gap, um, like a shake of 50, honestly, might be a nice spot for uh, you to manage risk on a sell-off and then a bounce back. So MP and DAVE, if you're not so much pullback buyers, those maybe not your focus, but for me, those are two of the names that I'm most excited about tomorrow. Next, we've got the short setups, and these are all, not all of them, but most of these are going to be extension trades that I'm looking for a gap up, accelerated move to the upside, then a loss of VWAP as my entry. Stop would be the high of the day. QS is one of them. If you look back at QS's history, you spike, you drop, you spike, you drop, you spike, you drop, you spike, you drop. And now we're getting to a spike extension here. We've gone from $4 up to $11. It could go higher, and that's why I have these overhead gaps drawn. If we get another day where we really accelerate and take out 1250, an uppercut and fail of that gap zone is a potential short versus whatever the high of the day is before it comes back into the zone. But with these names that have tons of power, have the good volume profile, you need to stay on the right side of the VWAP if you're going to be trading them short. I can't tell you how much money I've lost before trying to short these things too early and then being stubborn and saying they have to come back and they just continue to rip higher. So they do pay really well when they work and they break in your favor right away. But you have to stay on the right side of the VWAP if you're going to be shorting them. That's usually the best trigger, either a lower high intraday than a loss of VWAP, or like a green to red move. So QS, taking a look at that one. Car rallying all the way back from 50 to 200 for a nice 3x. But now looking to the left of the chart, you can see that's right where we had all of this turbulence. So anyone who bought in this zone and then held through this entire sell-off finally has a chance to get out for break even. And my guess is some of them are going to take it. We've continued to just bounce on the 5 day moving average. This stock's not doing anything wrong, and two tight closes on light volume under the 5 day. This could just gap up and really accelerate to the upside. So that's a potential buy point for like a day or 2 day trade on the upside. But what I would be looking for is a uppercut and fail the highs, and then a loss of the 5 day moving average as a potential short, and then playing that to the pullback lows here at like 163. SBET, this has been on a monster move lately, but definitely getting a little bit late in the move. Again, doesn't mean that it can't go higher. We're in a very risk on type market right now, but we had back-to-back highest volume ever days while the stocks already one, two, three, four, five gap ups in the last like 8 trading days in. We've already rallied from 9 up to nearly $40, and we have this resistance gap zone. I'll just be looking for morning strength, uppercut and fail of the resistance gap high, loss of VWAP as the entry, stop would be the high of the day to see a reversal here. JOBY, another name that's gone parabolic at this point from 5 up to 15. We can continue higher for sure, but we're still looking for a gap up, loss of VWAP as the short entry, stop would be high of day. And then N for ends. I'm short this already on the uppercut and fail of the previous highs. We continue to trade under this resistance gap, getting very, very tight right now. We're going to see price expansion here one way or another. If it's the downside, this stock's already rallied from $6 up to $50. We're starting to see volatility pick up here without price improvement. So hopefully, because I'm short already, we see a move to the downside. Otherwise, I'll probably get stopped out. I got my stop at 51.50 there. And AKA one that we've been has been on the watch list since I've started these videos on the short watch list. Lower high, lower high, lower high, resistance gap. We finally took out the small support gap from where is it? From this move. And now it looks I won't say likely. It looks very possible that this just rolls over and completely fades here. And from a move from $1 up to $33, now trading sideways without any price improvement, while the market's been as hot as it's been, just needs one push. 11 can drop to 750 really quick and then drop to $4 to fill that gap. ZEPP, this is another one like CAR where you could trade it long if we get a gap up opening range break. We saw how these red candle closes over the 5-day moving average on light volume can resolve to the upside with big expansion bars when you get a gap up. So I think it can exactly do that again and go even higher. But what I'm looking for to short this is if we get a gap down, some mini rally and then loss of the opening price would be the short here. It's already run from $2 up to 13. It can go higher, but we're looking for a gap down here to short this. Just because this pattern is so clean, the volume profile is so clean, I'm kind of guessing that it does go higher first before lower, and that's why I want to play it on weakness instead of strength. And finally, PTHL. This is very similar to what was it? Sorry. Very similar setup to PCLA that I took yesterday. That was my best intraday trade of my life. Very quick, down 76%. This was a Japanese stock that is obviously getting wash sailed all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And then uppercut failed, completely, completely died. Down 76%. I closed it out for about 80% on that move. OST is another example of these shorts that just wash sailed up from 83 cents all the way up to $9. Complete scam. You get an uppercut of the highs and then it just falls apart. Now, another name, another China stock that I think is probably one of those scams is PTHL. We've moved from $2 up to $20. Yesterday, we had a massive move higher that immediately reversed. And then today, another kind of mini rally that reversed and closed lower, closed the day up 1.6, but very weak in the range. After this type of move, now that we're seeing this type of volatility, that's kind of what OST and PCLA did. So this will be on watch just through the day's low as a potential short. I have 300 shares short. I'm trying to get more. It's hard to get shares in names like this, but we'll see if I can get more before it drops. All right, that's going to be the daily recap for Wednesday, July 16th. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And make sure you give Deepvue a try. Again, 1 month, completely risk-free. Don't even need to put your credit card information in. If you do get the trial, make sure you pick up all of my screeners, watch lists, data columns, and data panels so you can use the platform exactly how I do. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.